Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Common Sense Crypto Channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great, great world. We're going to talk about XRP, and I cannot believe I did not see this movie. It's called Humanity Bureau. And somebody sent it to me on crypto Twitter. I thought I would share it with all of you. Now, if you've seen this movie before, please do not tell me the ending. Do not put any spoiler alerts in the comments section. What it's about is in the near future, in a world ravaged by climate change and economic catastrophe, one man must uncover the truth behind a menacing government agency. And like I said, it has Nick Cage in it, which I'm very surprised I've never seen it. So surely people realize that carbon offset or carbon zero is nothing to do with saving the planet. Net zero is a fabricated credit system. Carbon credit is a pyramid scheme that moves money to the top. It's a fiscal currency in the form of digital credits. It's limiting the plebs' choices. Freedom of movement, our lifestyle choices are limited, equals lockdown. Now, like I said in previous videos, I feel if you're rich in the future, you could go on with life as normal. You'll be able to buy carbon credits all day long. But if you're poor, you're going to be a slave to the system. You're going to be under total government control. And there's no way to even buy yourself out of it. Like if you want to go on a trip, forget it in the future unless you could afford carbon offsets. Breaking, the European Union just introduced the first step of a personal carbon credit system. Every citizen will have to start paying for their carbon emissions in an effort to cut emissions by 55% by 2030. Do you see now why banks and airlines, etc., were already tracking it? And we know this is coming to every single country at some point. We're watching things roll out very fast overseas right now, over in the EU. But that will eventually come to the US. It's just a matter of time. Here you go. Once again, so much for conspiracies. EU personal carbon tracking is coming, and they announced plans for every citizen to pay for their carbon emissions, all tied to your banking apps. It's not like you haven't been warned. Use cash. And that's the thing. Right now, a lot of people are reverting back to cash. A lot of people outside of crypto, I see on crypto Twitter and regular Twitter, now talking about carbon credits. They're talking about climate change a lot more. They're starting to see what's really going on in the world. They're starting to wake up. That's what it comes down to. CBDCs will be programmable based on behavior, aka social credit scoring. Now, you would think this guy's talking about this somewhere overseas somewhere, but no, he's talking about this in Washington, D.C. The deputy managing director of the International Monetary Fund touts how central bank digital currencies can be programmed to determine what people can own while highlighting the communist China model of using the data for credit scoring. Speaking at a high-level roundtable on CBDC in Washington, D.C. on Friday, IMF Deputy Managing Director and former People's Bank of China Deputy Governor Bo Li said that he believes CBDC programmability could improve financial inclusion. He also explained how institutions can take advantage of CBDC transactional data by following the model of communist China. Now, why is our government listening to people like this? I'll tell you why. Because they're on board with the same exact agenda. Next digital ID in U.S. Maryland tests Android app biometric update. So Google's first public step into digital U.S. state IDs will fall in Maryland, which was implied by the company in May. At the same time, the state of Arizona is updating the physical version of its ID. Beta testing for some Android users is underway, according to Google's Wallet help page. No financial details for the taxpayer-funded project were released. So we're paying to get ourselves put on a digital ID through our tax dollars. Maryland and several other states, biometric digital IDs are available for Apple's Wallet app. Those eligible for Google's test program must have Android 8 and up and set up screen locked. Bluetooth and nearby functions have to be active, and users have to subscribe to its Play service beta, which this month introduces digital car keys for Xiaomi phones. So we're paying to get ourselves put on the system. And the thing is, it's state after state implementing this little by little behind the scenes. This should be something that's talked about on the mainstream media news. World Economic Forum pushes digital ID system that will determine access to services. Now, you're going to need a digital ID in the future for all of this. So, healthcare for users to access insurance treatment, to monitor health devices, wearables for care providers to demonstrate their qualifications. So, if you need healthcare in the future, you're going to have a digital ID. Financial services to open bank accounts, carry out online financial transactions. Food and sustainability for farmers and consumers to verify provenance of produce, to enhance value and traceability in supply chains, travel and mobility, to book trips, to go through border control between countries or regions, humanitarian response, to access services, to demonstrate qualifications to work in a foreign country. Most likely, you're going to have a digital ID to work anywhere, even inside the U.S. at some point. E-commerce to shop, to conduct business transactions and secure payments. So if you want to stay in business in the future, you're going to have a digital ID as well. Social platforms for social interactions, to access third-party services that rely on social media logins. E-government for citizens to access and use services, file taxes, vote, collect benefits. So in order to pay your taxes, you're also going to have a digital ID for that as well. Do you see how they're tying it into every aspect of our lives? Telecommunications for users to own and use devices, for service providers to monitor devices and data on the network. Telecommunications to monitor devices and sensors transmitting data such as energy usage, air quality, traffic congestion. And they're going to tell you this is a great idea. You're going to absolutely love this once you get put on it until you're on it. Then all of a sudden, the same system will be enslaving you. Jordan Peterson warns the left is planning a totalitarian social credit system. And I think they're working on that in the background. I don't think we're seeing everything that's getting worked on here in the U.S. I believe we're caught up with the rest of the world. It's just that they're not talking about it as much. Correct, it will be peddled as convenience and probably safety, but it is the fast track to your being controlled. Social credit system follows. Accepting a digital ID will lock you. And that's how I feel as well. It starts with that CBDC, then it comes the digital ID, then the social credit score. And before you know it, you're doing exactly what the government is telling you to do. RippleNet is not for grocery stores. It's for financial institutions with ODL and XRP. For the said grocery store, it can be XLM or other DLT, even CBDC payment solutions. Now, I have to talk about XRP with CBDCs because if I don't, people say you're not telling people the whole truth. Listen, I am not pro CBDC in any way. I know what that system is going to do to people throughout the world. But the thing is, they're coming whether we like it or not. That's why I'm telling you, you need to enrich yourself so you could buy those carbon offsets you're going to need in the future to live life the way you live it now. If not, I'm telling you, life is going to be a lot different if you're poor. CBDC, all fiat money, will be moved to blockchain. They'll need a liquidity bridge, and Ripple provides on-demand liquidity. XRP bridge token, fast, cheap, and efficient. And that's why they chose XRP. They're going to need the on-demand liquidity sooner or later. I cannot stress that enough. People always say, why would they use XRP when they could come up with an alternative? Why would they use Ripple? They'll just come up with an alternative. There is no alternative. XRP is created for exactly the same purpose that we're talking about right now as far as CBDCs. And I still would like to see some sort of alternative to this. I would like to see privacy laws put in place in front of a CBDC. Maybe there's something that Ripple has in the code that it doesn't enslave the world. Who knows? If Ripple loses the lawsuit, well, the Federal Reserve has no bridge currency for their CBDC. Then the BIS has no bridge currency. The New World Order has no bridge currency. So if Ripple loses, well, everyone loses. That's why I said you don't bet against these organizations. These are the people running the entire world right now. And how did it happen? I'll tell you how. Klaus Schwab put all these people, these leaders, in place. Nobody voted for these people either. And if they did vote, they didn't vote for that person. That's what it comes down to. These people were put there for one purpose, to get us all onto this new system that's going to be controlled by the New World Order. The more evil multiplies in America, the bigger government will get, and the more controlling they will be through more laws, rules, and regulations. This is also what the World Economic Forum wants. One world government and Marxism. This is why they're calling everything good evil and vice versa. If you look around, everything that you were ever taught that was bad in your life, all of a sudden is now something good. You have crime throughout all the streets with no punishment. If you keep letting crime go, what happens? Chaos ensues. Everything that you've ever been taught, no matter what, it's all backwards now. The whole world seems to have flipped upside down. And the thing is, it keeps us distracted while they're rolling out digital IDs, CBDCs, social credit scores. If you don't wake up and pay attention now, and you can't, and the division needs to stop as well. People fighting over politics is ridiculous at this point. They want that to continue happening. That's why you can't let it happen. I messed up in yesterday's video a little bit. I said that the money was funneled to the Democratic Party. It was funneled to both parties, Republicans and Democrats, through the Ukraine. And that's why I'm telling you, these people that we put in office inside of government, these politicians that tell us this and tell us that, keeps us divided all along the way. They all get what they want. The one thing that they want is for us to be enslaved. They want to bottleneck the population at some point as well. The World Economic Forum thinks your house or commercial building should be worth zero. If the World Economic Forum gets its way, your building could become a stranded asset that is abandoned due to changes in regulations unless you perform an expensive and often impossible retrofit. So they come in and they tell you you need to make all these upgrades as far as carbon. And you can't afford those upgrades in your building. So what do? You abandon the building. They're doing it now with farms throughout the world, telling these farmers they need to get some sort of electric tractor to plow the field. And you know the farmer can't afford that, so what happens? He loses his farm, and then all of a sudden the government comes in and takes control of it. They're going to do the same thing with housing throughout the world. These people have one agenda, and that's for us to own nothing. And guess what? We're not going to be happy. I'm telling you right now, none of us will be. Because all our lives, we've worked for all the things we want in life. We're used to that way of life. If you want something, you work hard and you save up and you buy it. That's what it comes down to. Or you make investments and you make some money and you finally buy all the things that you ever wanted to buy. But that's why I won't sell my XRP. No matter how much these people come out and say to me, you're holding the one cryptocurrency that'll enslave the planet. Guess what? I'm going to continue holding it. You know why? Because I know it's going to make me rich in the future. And if I'm rich in the future, I can afford carbon offsets. My life will be a lot different than the next person. You got to do what's best for you and your family. That's what it comes down to. That's why I always try to keep you holding your investments. I try to get you to that point where you can get rich off of your investments. Because if you already invested in it, hold on to all the reasons you did. And don't worry about all the people talking nonsense all over crypto Twitter. Because any time of the day, I could go on there and see somebody fudding all over XRP about ISO. But then in the next paragraph, they're talking on how great the Lightning Network is, which is also tied to the World Economic Forum, which I believe the World Economic Forum is using to track all the world's Bitcoin. So when it comes time to get rid of Bitcoin, they'll already know where it all is. So people rejoicing the Lightning Network and talking FUD on XRP, I feel are in for a big surprise in the end. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you watching my videos. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.